You asked for it. You're getting it. Don't go away. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Fat Guy Productions. I am Paul, coming to you as always from beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada. And that's right, I'm a giver. I am a giver, and you asked for this. And so I'm going to do it for you. Somebody commented on one of my decal videos, and I've done several of them. I've done looks at how to do decals with a lot of different formats of Ghost White, the iColor printer. But somebody said, I'd really like a video detailing the decaling process from A to Z. That's what we're going to do today, so let's get to work. All right, so the first step in the process of making decals is I take an image of the casting I'm going to work with and I load it into Adobe Illustrator. Once in there, I lock the image down so it won't move, and then using the pen tool, I will trace around all the body elements so that I can then color this any way I want to and start laying in decals. Now, I'm not going to go into a lot of depth about using Illustrator. If you want a video like that, put it in the description and I'll do a primer, so to speak, on how to use Adobe Illustrator. But once I have the outline of the car, you'll notice I can just go ahead and change the color to anything that I want. And then that's going to make it easy for me to now start laying in the logos. Now, once I got to that point, I was hit with an epiphany. I had been working on some artwork for a t-shirt, Rock Ridge Sheriff's Department. You know, Rock Ridge, Blazing Saddles. And I thought, oh my goodness, the Rock Ridge Rock Buster. Okay, so I've got my art done, and you can see it right here. But nothing is in scale. And why do I do it that way? Well, I do it that way because I don't want to waste a bunch of time taking measurements and all this other stuff if I can't come up with something I like. What if I end up changing my mind and scratching this and doing something else? So, yeah, I just kind of mock it up until I'm happy. If I'm happy, then I'll go ahead and do the minutia. So that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to go ahead and get ruler out. Go with this. Okay. So, what I have to do is I have to figure out how big all the decals need to be. And one thing that I can do is I can just take one simple measurement on the side, like from this point. There, I had a pointer. From right here to right here. If I get that measurement and then scale this in Illustrator, so that is the exact measurement, then the whole car is the exact measurement, and thus all of these decals will be right too. So let's go ahead and get that measurement. We are looking, wish I had my other ruler here. I like using millimeters. This is 15/16. I think. Yeah, 15/16. So an inch, and that takes care of all of that. Now, you notice on this paper I don't have the hood measurement, so I'm going to have to make a little hand-drawn thing for the hood. Okay, and so the hood, and actually I don't even need this measurement. I only need this one, because if the decal will fit that way, it'll fit the other way. This is going to be right in the middle, half an inch. All right, so all I have to do is now scale the graphic to 15/16. I'll make the badge for the hood to match the half inch, and I'm good to go. That's how easy it is to get the measurements, and it, just now I can get everything scaled. And what I like to do is on the decal sheet, since I'm putting a piece of paper in there anyhow, is I'll print them at the measurements that I've captured, but I'll also scale it up and down by, say, 5% and make a set 5% bigger, a set 5% smaller. That way I've got a little wriggle room there to allow me to do this and get it the way I want it. So, okay, with that done, we can go ahead and get this scaled, and then we can head to the printer. So we'll be back at the printer. Okay, so now it's time to actually make the decals. And what I've done is I've loaded the artwork into a just a thumb drive, and I brought it over here to my Lenovo ThinkPad. And I've got it plugged in, and I'm going to start her up, and I'm going to fire up the software that goes with my iColor printer. Now, once I've got that open, I'll import the artwork, and then I can go ahead and send the print job. Now, using this proprietary software, there's a lot of different ways to print with this. You can print a white underlay, you can print a white overlay, you can print just CMYK, which is what I'm going to be doing today. And the software will actually tell you how to put the proper toner cartridges into the printer to make sure that you get the right results. So you get the artwork loaded up, you make sure you've got everything set right, make sure you choose the quality that you want and all of those other little factors, and then we can go ahead and send the print job over to the iColor printer. Now, I keep the paper tray filled with regular paper, but you see it says it's out of paper because I always send decal jobs to the manual feed. And so it says it's out of paper, so I take one sheet of decal paper. I use Sunny Scopa's decal paper, and I just insert it into the manual feed, and then in a second here, the printer will suck the paper in and shoot it out the other end with my glorious decals ready to go. And it is literally that easy. And look at that. I have a beautiful sheet of decals ready to go on my Rock Ridge Rock Buster. Okay, so I have my decal sheet, I've got my plan, I've got my Rock Buster, and I don't know why. It seems like it has no paint on it. I don't know what happened to it before, but I don't know if this is the way it came. I really don't know, but it doesn't matter. We still have to take it apart and go through all the normal steps. So we're going to get out my drill bits. We're going to get this thing drilled apart. We're going to get the posts drilled out, tapped, and ready to take a screw so that we can get a paint job on this little devil. Okay, so we got the thing apart. And you can see that this is a very simple casting. It's a base, it's a body, and a little interior / roll cage section. Mine's a little deformed, but there's not really anything I can do about it. And it's really not the end of the world. The car is still going to come out just killer. It's going to look great. So let's go ahead and we'll get this all cleaned up and ready to take over to the paint booth. Because of the way I found this casting with essentially no paint on it, I really don't need to go for warm liquid goo. Or I forgot, I'm not even doing that anymore because it's not warm liquid goo. It's just some sucky stripper. Citrus Strip really let me down here. But anyhow, the point is I don't need to go the route of stripper, so I'm just going to hit it up with the brass bristle brush, and if there's any little dots of paint or anything that I need to deal with, I'll just pick them away, and I'm not going to worry about going through the whole stripper phase. So we're going to just clean this up and get it ready to take over to the paint booth. All right, and as long as I'm over here, this seems like the perfect time to go ahead and get the old wheels cut off the base. So I've got a little pair of side cutters, and I'm just going to start nipping away these wheels because I'm going to reuse these axles. I'm going to switch this car out to hub-style red lines. So all I need is the axles left, so we're just going to munch these old wheels away, get them off, and that way we're all set for putting on brand new, you know it, deep dish chrome wheels. Now, because it is the Rock Ridge Rockbuster, I did think about putting some like off-road wheels on it, maybe something from Samed Wheels, but you know, I don't know. I felt redliney. If you think this was a mistake, go ahead and put it in the comments and tell me. Maybe I'll revisit this car later. If you all tell me I'm wrong, maybe I'll revisit it and put some nice Samed off-road wheels on here. But you know, I don't know. I felt redliney, so that's the way I'm going. Let me know what you think. So what is that, you say? A new paint booth? Why, yes indeed, it is a new paint booth. And I've got this in a whole unique setup, so if you're interested, I can do a video on it if you just let me know. Real quick, I'm gonna just prime this car with some Tamiya Fine Primer, and we'll let that dry. But what I was gonna say is on this new paint booth, you know, I've got the bottom of it covered off, and I actually applied some WD-40 all over the inside of it to help clean it up later, and then I actually have it vented into a filter box that you could use for venting a dryer indoors. And it goes down into this filter box, and I replaced the filter that came with it with a charcoal filter, and it's got a little water dirt trap in it, and it just is attached to the wall down underneath and behind my paint booth. So hopefully that will be a good experience and keep air clean a little bit better for me. Now you also notice my little schnozzle that I'm wearing. That is that vented mask that I showed you in an earlier video. Love that thing. And so I'm really trying to keep my environment as clean as possible. Now, as you saw in the pictures of the casting, as I designed it, this is going to be a white vehicle, and so I'm just using the opaque white paint from the Redline shop, and so I'm mixing it up with a little bit of hardener. We put it in the airbrush, and then we can go ahead and start to lay it down. The paint goes on just like I always do, starting with a tack coat, then medium coats, and then once I've got full coverage, then we'll lay down a couple nice wet coats, just enough to get that glossy wet finish, but not so much that it can sag or run. This will make the decaling go a lot better because I'm going to have a really nice glossy finish, so I don't have to worry about decal silvering or anything like that. If I don't have a glossy finish, I'm going to have to put some clear over this to prevent the decals from silvering, and I don't want that, you know, so it's just easier to put a really good paint job on here. Alright, so while I finish this up, just let me say that if some of my videos over the next month or so feel a little weird or disjointed, I have to be honest, I'm still getting used to how everything is set up in my room. I don't know where a lot of stuff is at. I've pretty much lost things. I'm using new equipment. There's a lot of stuff going on there, so please forgive me. Anyhow, the casting is dry, and it's now time to go ahead and lay the decals down. And good practice in any decaling situation is to trim as close to the artwork as possible. Now, there's no excess here. I don't have to trim right up to the edge here because I'm using clear decal paper. Because of the iColor printer, I can use clear decal paper, but it's still good practice. I've got my little magnifier visor on, and I am trimming as close as I can get to the artwork, just because it's what you should be doing when you're doing your decals. So I'm going to get all the decals cut out and set aside, and then we can start laying them onto the car. Alrighty, they're called water slide for a reason, because you put them into water so that they will slide. So I've got my decals. I dunk them into the water, soak them, and I put a little water on the body too, because I want some water up underneath the decals so that I can slide them around easily and get them fully positioned to where I want them. So once they're on the body, then I can go ahead and use my favorite decaling tool, a toothpick, and I can nudge them around and get them perfectly aligned. And there's nothing better than a toothpick for that. Once that is done, I just let them dry. Now, in this case, there's not a lot of compound curves and stuff like that that's going to require softening agent, but I still am going to use it. I think first, after I get all the decals on, I'm going to let them kind of settle in first. Then I'll go back and I'll apply some setting agent over each decal to make sure that they are firmly on this casting before we go ahead and seal everything up. So all my preliminary work using Illustrator and measuring and getting everything scaled properly, you see it's paying off in spades here, because these decals are, it's like they were made for this casting, which I guess they were by me, but you get what I'm saying. They're going on just seamlessly, and they look fantastic. This is going to come out great. I'm really excited about how this is starting to look. All right, the decals are on, and the car is thoroughly dry, and now we can seal everything up using some of this amazing clear coat from Die Cast Graveyard. You mix it up with some of his hardener, and this stuff really is the best stuff I've used. I'm in love with it. It gives me this beautiful, great, glossy, wet finish. I love it. The mix is right. It dries faster, in my opinion, than the stuff I was using before, and I'm very happy with the results I've been getting. So once I get a batch of this mixed up, I can load it up into the airbrush, and then we'll start putting it down. Now, I've told you this before, and I don't know why I was getting these pinholes, but I was getting these pinholes before I started using Die Cast Graveyard's clear. And so when I'm putting clear over a lot of decals like I'm doing here, I changed up how I'm applying it. I'm pretty much doing a tack coat and then almost immediately transitioning into wet coats. This seems to have taken care of my problem. So I go with a tack coat, I waste almost no time, and then I start going back over it again, laying down wet coats until I get a beautiful glossy wet finish, and then I set it aside to dry. All right, the base was in really nice shape in advance, so all I did was hit it up with some Flitz calcium spray, and then washed it, and then I'm going to just hit it with my brass bristle brush, and that's going to give me more than enough shine. I will seal this up with some of my Renaissance wax just to make sure it doesn't tarnish again. But that's all that's really needed for the base is just a little brass bristle brush work. And it's going to look fantastic. Now, like I hinted at earlier, I am just going to go with red lines. I'm going to use the hot swap hubs from Bright Vision, and I'm going to put on these red line chrome deep dish wheels. And I'm going to use all large wheels all the way around to give it kind of that off-road look. Yes, I know I could do something different, but I'm not gonna. This is just what I'm gonna do. Again, if you don't like it, please tell me in the comments, and maybe I'll change my mind. I don't know. But this is how I'm gonna roll, and I think it's gonna come out great. So the hot swap hubs go on easy enough using a pair of needle nose pliers. You really got to kind of grip them pretty hard, otherwise you can shoot them across the room. But you get a good bite on them, and then you press them onto the axle, and usually I can only get them about halfway, and then I remove the needle nose pliers and take my finger and just click them into place. And I do that on all 4 axles, and then we're in business. Once the hot swap hubs are on and ready to go, it's a simple matter of pressing on the hub style wheels, and it's as easy as that. Okay, so we're ready to put this sucker back together, and it's a really easy casting to put together. Base, the interior with the roll cage, the body, and then a couple screws. But I'm kind of excited about putting this one back together, and I'll tell you why. This is going to be the first build I've done where I'm going to put it together with the little electric screwdriver that I got. And so I'm really excited about that, to see how it works. And it's going to be nice. So just, I pick it up. It's got the T5 on it. Pick up the little screw, stick it in place, and push the button. Boom. Oh, that is awesome. I really love that. I'm going to really like this thing. Okay, so the car is all together. I have some detail painting I want to do around the engine area, some cables for the battery, the cap to the fuel tank, belts on the motor, stuff like that. I want to get all of that done. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do something very special for the lights on the roll cage. So here I have little blue gemstones, and I'm going to take them and I'm going to stick them on the lights on the roll cage and on the lights on the front of the car, like blue police lights. And that should really just put this thing over the top. And just like that, my Rock Ridge Rock Buster is done. I'm really excited about it. I think it came out great. Let's take a look at it. So there you have it, my Rock Ridge Rockbuster, and I love it. I love doing cars or vehicles of any type that come out of the movies. You've seen me do the van from Stir Crazy. You've seen me do the ambulance from Other Jugs and Speed. And even though this was never in existence because, you know, they were on horses, it was still a fun little tie-in to the movie. And I really enjoy that kind of stuff. I have a lot of fun doing these particular kinds of cars. I got to do more of them, I think. All right, I hope you liked this video. If you did, please give it a giant thumbs up, click subscribe, and don't forget to click the notification bell so you never miss one of my videos. As always, if you have any questions or comments, I'd love to hear from you guys. It makes my day. All right, that's going to do it for me. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. I hope the rest of your day is phantasmagorically wonderful. Until next time, this is Paul from Fat Guy Productions saying, be good.